Hello, I am Steven Roeland, Manager Education at Technopolis, the Flemish Science Centre. My department is responsible for all educational programs inside Technopolis as all outreach projects.
I am Wim de Vos, I'm the Corporate Communication Officer of the Museum of Natural History in Brussels. What I'm doing is basically trying to tell about science, not to the big audience as I did until a few months ago, but now to the stakeholders, to the deciders.
Well, I'm Antonio Gomes da Costa and I'm the Director of the Pavilion of Knowledge in Lisbon, Portugal. Being a director means just picking up on the enthusiasm of people, natural enthusiasm of people that already work in the Science Center.
My name is Claire Pillsbury and I'm a project director at the Exploratorium in San Francisco in the United States. As a project director, I'm in charge of an exhibit team, and that involves exhibit developers, writers, graphic artists, content experts.
My name is Vincent Blesch, and I'm working at the Milan in Tokyo, Japan, as a science specialist for the development of new exhibitions. I do floor activities like science communication, as well as the development of new exhibitions together with artistic background exhibit developers.
I am Mikko Myllykoski from Finland and I work at Heureka, the Finnish Science Center. I'm responsible for the exhibitions, their production in Heureka, but also for taking exhibitions from other museums and science centers to Heureka.
My name is Will Jackson. I'm the Director of Engineered Arts Limited, and we're a company based in the UK, and we design and build exhibits for museums and science centers.
My name is Bart van der Laar. I work for University of Groningen, which is up in the north of the Netherlands. I work there as a project manager. I find partners, I find people I can work with within our faculty or Netherlands or abroad.
I'm Anja, I am from Germany and at the moment I am a PhD student at the University of Tübingen, which is close to Stuttgart, and I'm writing a thesis about mathematical models and geometrical instruments. We worked a lot with children and also adults, bringing mathematics closer to the public.
I'm Matthias Klostermann, the CEO and founder of Klostermann Design and Higher Reality Entertainment. We build museum exhibitions, we build animatronic figures, robots, scenery and whatnot.
I'm Paolo Cavallotti, I'm a room helper of the ECSITE Conference in these days, and I work for the Internet Interactive Media Office of the National Science Museum in Milan.
My name's Clara Lim. I'm working for think tank the Birmingham Science Museum, and I'm a science interactive curator there. It's not just historical collections. We have interactives, we have programs, we have storytelling sessions.
By coincidence.
I never decided, I want to do a museum, and then I went to the museum.
Well, actually, I'm not a mathematician at all. I studied culture and media.
I never thought growing up that I wanted to be a science communicator. I don't think it was a job description that existed.
I used to work as a policy advisor.
I've worked first for a journalist, have been a spokesman in a brewery for quite some time.
I'm a mechanical engineer by training, and being a female mechanical engineer, you're very outnumbered by the males.
They say to me, well, Anja, you were never a genius in math. Well, how come that you're now working on the history of math? And I said, well, sometimes you need a detour to get to a topic.
And that was fun for 1 or 2 years, writing angry letters to other people. And then I kind of lost interest because it's not really, you don't feel like you own what you do.
I am a scientist. I've studied science. I'm a biochemist.
I was a researcher in biochemistry and a teacher of biochemistry for 20 years. And then I decided I wanted to move to science communication because there is a lot that is essential that people know about science.
I was a student, I studied history, and I was, towards the end of my studies, my very long studies, and then I heard that at Heureka there was a need for people to work for an exhibition, interactive exhibition about contemporary history. In fact, the modernization of Finland. So very peculiar thing, interactive exhibition about history. Well, I knew nothing about science centers at that time because the whole concept of science center was quite new, even in Finland.
I graduated from college. I had studied psychology, and I was very interested in learning, but I also was very interested in design.
In 2001, we had our first job for the Dubai Children's City Museum, where we built walking lizards and walking giant spiders and these kind of things. And it just evolved, and that just showed me that, wow, museums are nice because some of the museums, not all of them, but some of the museums want a quality that is superior to anything that a theme park might want, especially in terms of realism and accuracy, which is what I love to do.
We're making things that are at the very cutting edge of technology. So we're not just making an exhibit. Now we're making some humanoid robots, but these are very advanced, and we needed to work with people who have a venue where we can show these, but they also understand advanced technology and the problems that you have with it. So science centres are ideal for that.
And now I'm into Technopolis, and I grab all those things together and try to put it in there.
I never thought I want to be a curator. I never thought that. But when I joined the Singapore Science Centre, learned about the world of science communication, it just totally changed my life.
Lots of things on my job are very exciting. If I should pick a few, first thing is very interesting to work with young people and motivate and stimulate them for science and technique.
We want to raise fascination from that. We want to, I think we want to see their eyes gleam and say, wow, I didn't know that. Mommy, I want to know more.
You have to think in a different way because you have to think about the cultural point of view.
It's great because there's something for everyone, and we're not saying that pressing buttons or experimentation is more important than history. We try to bring across the idea that it's building on the shoulders of giants.
We regard ourselves as a research company. So we're doing research, but we're also displaying that research, and it provides some nice exhibits for science museums, science centres as well.
First, you have a direct impact on the society. You can see if people enjoy the exhibition or the event, so you've got some kind of reward, immediate reward, which is really cool. Also, museums are a place where you create science, you create a message, a concept, then you create a space, and you create interactions with people. So this is all about creativity, and I love that.
But I think it's my duty to make people ask the question, and that's our main goal.
What I really like is that you can have a possibility to speak to people's minds and also to people's hearts. When you make them realize that they have a responsibility, that they are, with all the other 6 billion of human beings, in charge of saving the planet for the future, well, this is quite an emotion. And when at the end of a session, of a talk, of a meeting, of whatever, you realize that you made a change in their mentalities, I think that there you do something real and something to contribute to a sustainable world, and that's what I love in my job.
A world without science, how would it look like?
In a world without science, I wouldn't be there.
I think it is impossible to work without science.
I can't imagine it. It's horrible. But I think that it's possible to have a world without being conscious of science. I think science it's not something that we create. It's not something that we invent or identify. That's more technology, isn't it? But science is there. It's almost like maths. It's a logic.
Science is something that humans do, and as long as there are humans, then there will be science. More simple or more complicated, more luring. So I think in every world there will be some kind of science.
My favorite scientist is Charles Darwin.
I think Darwin changes a lot, not only on his theory on evolution, but as well in the minds of so many people.
Leo Baekeland I really liked. He invented Bakelite, the plastic.
I don't know who discovered the carbon cycle, but that was a profound scientific concept.
Galileo Galilei.
One of the most important discoveries was the telescope.
DNA.
I think writing, the ability to write.
I was hesitating about the relativity and quantum physics and all the cosmological theories, but I pick something that means knowledge about ourselves.
Science centers to me are a very, very weird happening.
It's a place where you can taste, feel, and have suggestions.
Such lively places for people to really enjoy a playful exploration and enjoy participating in these activities.
I've been to almost every science center. I've been to Singapore, Los Angeles, New York, the German ones, and whatnot. And they're all pretty much the same.
We are there for the schools, we are here for the curriculum, we are here to help teachers, we are here to help the formal education, as much as a cathedral can be used in formal education for a history lesson or a garden or whatever.
And to me, science centers are, or were, a great invention where people tried to bring science to the crowd. But I think they've stopped half the way because they're bringing physics to the crowds.
I think it's important to show what's behind the science to people, not only explain it, really involve people in saying you can innovate, you can create new things too. And I think this is not done enough. It's risky, it's a new approach, but still today there is innovation, there are new things every day coming out of the laboratories that people don't know. And the way we communicate science is a little bit late as compared to the evolution of science today. So we need to be able to engage people more in the process of science itself as it's progressing every day.
One new area for science centers, though it's also an area that we need to share with natural history museums, is the world of living things that are not animals. Plants, I think, is an incredible area for science centers to get into.
Too many people do not know what those new technologies are, and I think science centers need to invest much in those technologies and communicating those technologies.
I think what's important in the Science Centre is not to become fixated with forgetting the past.
Maybe that we could have a discussion about our own behavior in the light of sustainable development, and about acts that every day we can have to contribute to a more sustainable world. Some science centers, museums do it, but not in a systematic way.
I think we should address taboos and we should not be afraid of provocative topics.
I don't think that we find adults the way we would like to find, at least in significant numbers. We find them a lot accompanying kids, we find them a lot just sneaking a little bit and browsing the exhibitions, but I would like to find them a lot more and engaging in activities. But what we don't find, and this is true, I think, what we really don't find is teenagers.
I think that the most important thing for the science thing is the credibility. That science is objective, neutral. I know that I'm engaging in 200 years of philosophical debates, but that's one point. On the other side, you have museum going back to the origin of the word, the muse. So you have a kind of culture, even a kind of art to be allowed in the museum. But on the other hand, a kind of meeting place, a kind of organized permanent think tank, a kind of open house where you can reflect freely about everything you want, about science, about development.
I think for me more important than the choosing of a certain topic that would be taboo or new or something special, I think more important is the way how we treat a topic. The Science Center of the future will still be a real physical place to visit.
Partial virtual and partial physical science center where people from New York can communicate directly to people in Mechelen, Belgium, doing experiments together.
The real meeting place between scientists and people. and every other kind. When I mean people, I mean scientists and politicians, scientists and people that deal with the economy, that deal with health.
But also where you can dream, where artists come to expose their views on the future of the world, where you have music, where you have other forms of art, and where many, many, many young people come.
If we could have a really sound economic foundation for science centers in the future and have science centers be solid resources both for their community and for their local schools, that would be a terrific thing. So that's, I guess, what I would hope for the Science Center of the future.
My Science Museum of the future goes back as far as it goes forward.
Maybe kind of a ship museum telling the story of a river, traveling up and down a river and telling the story of how people settled and what plants are growing. And this would be a mixture of natural history and also hands-on experiments.
If you have a question, I'm going to the Science Center.
And if you don't work in a science center, I've never visited one, come and enjoy science because it's just part of life.
So come in here and find out about yourself.
If you thought you are a zero in math, then just come to the Mathematicum and find out that it can actually be fun.
And we will welcome you, do a VIP tour, offer some sake, and have some fun together.
Please come and join and feel the joy of discovery yourself.
If you want to discover that the world is a fascinating place, that optimism is not a possibility but a duty, if you want to know why the planet is a place that is worth living on, please come to a science museum, a science center, and we'll explain you why.